Sharon Salzberg, and we're brought together by Mindful Magazine, which I'm extremely grateful to. I want to talk just a little bit about loving kindness as a practice, and then we're going to practice some together. So, the term loving kindness can seem a little odd or quirky. It more fundamentally means a sense of connection. It doesn't mean you like somebody necessarily, or you approve of them, or you take delight in what they're doing by any means. But it's a deep, deep knowing that our lives are really so profoundly interconnected. And interconnection is the key. I've long said that science shows us this, and economics shows us this, and environmental consciousness certainly shows us this, and even epidemiology shows us this, that what happens over there doesn't nicely stay over there. It ripples out over here. And what we do, what we care about, what we devote ourselves to, it matters, because that will also ripple out along these strands of interconnection. And so it's understanding that it's not a question of liking somebody or approving them, but knowing that it's a worldview. It's really powerful to look at how we pay attention and who we pay attention to, and who we tend to disdain or ignore or feel doesn't count. And to begin to stretch, to begin to work on those sense of rigid limitations, because they are just constructs. They don't have a fundamental reality. And that's why something like loving kindness or compassion is actually a powerful state, because it reflects a reality of how our lives actually are. It's so easy to fall into a very tight, rigid sense of self and other and us and them. And there are ways in which we do have a sense of individuality that's important and meaningful. But we're also tremendously connected. And we see it so glaringly now these days. It's almost like the terrible face of interconnection is so blatant. And we can also look for the kind of healing face or ennobling face of something like interconnection, so that we don't feel so alone and cut off, and that kind of corrosive sense of isolation. So it's very common to think of loving kindness as something sentimental or weakening. I've often said that in society, sometimes I've thought that kindness is really like a secondary virtue. It's like, if you can't be brilliant, you can't be courageous, and you can't be wonderful. Okay, be kind. It's nice. It's not great, but it's good. But it is of greatness to have a much more developed sense of kindness toward ourselves is actually a way to make progress quicker, to learn something new, to change a habit, and to have a sense of connection, kindness, compassion for others is a way of having a deeper, truer sense of how things actually are. It all depends on how we pay attention. So, what do we pay attention to? If you're the kind of person who, say, comes to the end of your day and you evaluate and you pretty much only think about the mistakes you made or the things you did wrong or how you weren't up to it, you didn't really show up, it's like a stretch. It's almost like saying, what happens if I could give a little airtime to what I usually don't, which is wishing myself well and kind of cradling myself in the sense of caring. And how do we pay attention? You think about all the times, even now, when we're not necessarily face to face with somebody in a real way, when we're distracted, we're not really present. When we even think about somebody else, our minds jump off and go somewhere else, or we may have a very limited view of somebody, and we just keep going back to that rather than kind of open up with a sense of curiosity and interest. So how do we pay attention? And very strikingly, who do we pay attention to? When I've gone into companies or organizations to teach, I almost always ask the question, well, who else has to be doing their job well for you to be able to do your job well? And I was going through a manuscript of my next book, which was supposed to come out in June, but now it's going to come out in September, and it's called Real Change. And I was reading some of the meditations, the guided meditations the other day, actually for mindful. And there's a very classic section in loving kindness practice, which is done by the silent repetition of certain phrases and offering that quality of presence and caring to ourselves and to others, culminating in all beings everywhere. And this is very classic section where we offer loving kindness to someone known as a neutral person. That is someone we don't particularly like or dislike. We just feel kind of neutral toward them. And the recommendation is that we choose somebody that we tend to run into now and then, because then we get to see as we continue the practice if that sense of connection actually shifts. So usually it's someone who plays some role in our lives. And I was reading this script for the guided meditation, and I said something in there that I've said for years as an example of a neutral person, which is a checkout person in a supermarket, the kind of person we usually maybe commonly ignore or discount. And as I was reading it, I thought, oh no, these people are actually heroes, right? Look at what we're counting on. You know, we count on so many people. So who do we pay attention to? And what happens when we open that up? It's not a practice where we're trying to force a certain feeling or emotion. It's one where we're stretching, we're paying attention differently than maybe what we're accustomed to doing. It is done by the silent repetition of certain phrases. And for most people in the sitting like the one I'm about to guide, you may not go through all this whole big variety of different categories, but usually we begin with the offering of loving kindness to ourselves. We end with the offering of loving kindness to all beings everywhere, to all of life. And we do different things in the middle part. Every day it could be different. Maybe you have a friend who's doing really well right now. You want to include them, or a friend who's really in trouble right now. You want to include them. Or you're especially moved by the story of somebody and you want to include them, and so on. So I'm going to guide you through just one of many possibilities for what you might choose to do. If you want to just sit comfortably, you can lie down also if that's better for you. You can close your eyes or leave them open. If they're open, they could be like a little bit open. You could find a spot to rest your gaze, let it go. Let your attention settle into your body. Let's start with taking a few breaths, a few deep breaths. And then allow your breath to just be natural. And we're choosing as an object of awareness the silent repetition of certain phrases. And with ourselves as the first recipient, the phrases would be something like, may I be safe, be happy, be healthy, live with ease. May I be safe, be happy, be healthy, live with ease. You can repeat these over and over again with enough space and enough silence so that it's a rhythm that's pleasing to you. You don't have to try to force a special feeling. Just gather all of your attention behind one phrase at a time. And if you find your attention wandering, you get lost in thought, or you fall asleep, don't worry about it. We say the most important moment is the next moment after you've been gone, where we have the chance to let go and begin again. And see if you can bring to mind someone, you can call them a benefactor, someone who's helped you. Maybe they've helped you directly. They've helped you get up when you've fallen down. Or maybe you've never met them. They've inspired you from afar. This is the one whom, when you think of them, you smile. They just kind of lift your spirits. Could be an adult, could be a child, could be a pet. Who makes you smile? And if someone comes to mind, you can bring them here. Get an image of them or say their name to yourself. Get a feeling for their presence and offer the phrases of loving kindness to them. Even if the words seem imperfect, that's totally fine. They're like the vehicle for the heart's energy, and so they're serving us. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy, live with ease. And just for fun, for a few minutes, let's have that benefactor figure offer loving kindness back to you. So you can put yourself in the position of the recipient, and they are offering to you, may you be safe, be happy, be healthy, live with ease. And all kinds of different emotions may arise. You may feel grateful, you may feel embarrassed. Whatever may come up, see if it can just wash through you as you steady your attention on the repetition of the phrases. And then a friend. Let's start with a friend who's doing pretty well right now. You can bring them here and get an image of them or say their name to yourself. Get a feeling for their presence and offer the phrases of loving kindness to them. And a friend who's having difficulty right now. Someone comes to mind, bring them here and offer the phrases of loving kindness to them. And let's have a party. Let's just gather together, whoever comes to mind, friends, family, who's doing well, who's not doing so well, and offer loving kindness to that collective. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy, live with ease. And then all beings everywhere, all people, all creatures, all those in existence, near and far, known and unknown. May all beings be safe, be happy, be healthy, live with ease. And when you feel ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining us, and let's all try to bring some more loving kindness and compassion into our day. Thank you.